Hello and welcome to Downtime Podcast, episode 93. Alyssa, what's up?
Hey!
Hello, everyone. We're talking to you straight from the San Francisco Bay Area. Here to talk about games and whatever else. So
Comes to mind.
yeah. How's it going? How's your week so far?
You know, my week has been it's been a hectic week. It's been very, very hectic, but I am surviving, and that's all that really matters. As of today, Captain Marvel is out. I haven't seen it yet, but I know it's out. And just contemplating whether I'm going to see it on release weekend or wait it out till the crowds die down. I don't know yet.
Yeah, I'm on the latter part of that. I'm gonna wait until next Thursday to see it because I just want less people to be in the theaters. I do like seeing movies the day that they come out, but because there's a certain like magic you feel with the crowds, reacting for the first time to certain things. But I just sometimes, I just want to sit back with a couple friends and not worry about too many loud people. So
I feel it.
Yeah, I want to enjoy those Marvel post-credit scenes without any spoilers.
If I see Captain Marvel this weekend, I might do it at one of those sit-in restaurant theaters where I can get dinner while I watch.
What? Those are things? Oh, you mean like the Alamo Drafthouse?
Like the Alamo Drafthouse, except the one that's in like South Bay is like super bougie AF.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because we're closer to the center of Silicon Valley. But the thing is that they serve really good food.
Right. I heard that that's a Century Theater that you could just like have a really nice, comfortable chair. There's like a table that folds out. You can put your dinner there.
There's a button that you can call the waiter or waitress to assist you with beer and food. And for overall, it's like really cool because at least like in my experience, because you've been to the Alamo Drafthouse and like theaters like that before, right?
Yeah.
Because I like going to the theater like 30 to 40 minutes before it starts to make sure that I have all my food with me before.
Yeah, no, totally.
Anything goes.
I think it's really cool that that's kind of like a way that we can all experience what it's like to be rich,
Hey.
Tapping into that like rich life.
And it just goes to show that the theater life is still thriving. Like, I like watching movies in theaters because it gives a certain feeling when you're in a communal.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of people don't realize that the movie theater experience is a whole different world compared to when watching something at home on Netflix.
Yeah, exactly. Because
let's be honest, there's just better sound systems in these theaters. Because they're meant to show movies. You're going to a place that's meant to show movies, whereas your TV is meant to show both movies and TV shows. So, of course, the audio won't be as great. The picture would be pretty good, but, it really depends on your TV and the settings you add to it. So
yeah, I actually don't think that theaters are going to die out anytime soon. Everyone thought theaters were going to die out 10 years ago, and look where we are right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the only thing that died out were, like, home video stuff, like...
Yeah,
like
VCR.
Yeah, like Blockbuster, Hollywood Video, stuff like that.
Rest in peace.
Remember Game Crazy? Did you ever go to Game Crazy?
Yeah, remember when Game Crazy used to kind of be a competitor to GameStop?
Yeah. And
remember those days? Because they were so far away.
I know. And it was just weird that Game Crazy was always attached to a Hollywood Video.
I know.
Yeah. The reason I was thinking about that is because there's a scene in Captain Marvel where she lands inside of a Blockbuster because the movie takes place in the 90s. So of course, that kind of got me thinking like, when was the last time I went to like a Hollywood Video or a Blockbuster? And I remember the last time I went to either of those things was in the early 2000s when the Wii came out. So it's got to be like 06, 07, 08. And
yeah.
I went with my cousin and my brother, and we bought Resident Evil 4 on the Wii, as well as Resident Evil, the first game, the remake, on the Wii.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know why we bought those games, but we bought them because they were like super cheap at the time, and I was like, wow, this is actually kind of cool. And I think that was the last time I've ever been inside a Hollywood video or a game crazy.
I think the last game that I've gotten from a Hollywood video was Mortal Kombat 3. I think that was the last game that I ever got.
Wow.
Could have been something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were the days, man.
Yeah, that's so nostalgic. I mean, because like I've been collecting GameCube games, and I remember when back in the day you can go into a Blockbuster or Hollywood Video, but for me it was mostly Hollywood Video since that was the closest one to my house, and you can just pop in there, rent like Genesis games, Super Nintendo, NES carts. You can also just get PS2, Dreamcast,
I know.
GameCube games, and then like as a kid you don't really think about the future because you think about what you want then and there. But as an adult, you think about that fondly, and you're like, man, if only I had the resources to get more stuff,
Yeah.
or like at least capitalize on when these stores were officially closing because they sold everything that was, there. But like, there's people on eBay that are selling like old GameCube games that still have like the Hollywood Video stickers on there.
Wow.
And I'm like, damn, I wish I would have capitalized on that because that would have been so cool.
I know. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, I remember they were just getting rid of all their inventory, and I was like, why didn't I do this? That's right. I was in high school and I had no money, and I only wanted to buy games that were coming out then. Speaking of games that are coming out now, I pre-ordered Sekiro Shadows Die Twice.
And I think you can actually also pre-order Judgment now, correct?
That's a great question. Let me look into that real quick because that would be awesome, and I'm really looking forward to that game.
Dude, I'm more hyped for that game as they're releasing more things. I think it's going to be a great change to what we've seen even though it's in the same Yakuza universe and it has a lot of the same elements. Yeah, it's just nice to have a completely different character in different world.
Absolutely.
So I'm hyped for it. Good luck with Sekiro.
Thank you. I'm really looking forward to it. I will have an update at the end of this month when I pick it up and start playing it. So look for that. And to answer your question before, yes, you can pre-order Judgment for $60. Comes out June 25th of this year. So yeah, fun stuff.
I will say the cover does look pretty cool. Actually, I'm a little bit confused. When I'm looking at the image on Amazon, there's two different covers. So one cover kind of represents the facial of the main character, and it's a little bit like glass shard effect where some glass shards show one image and then the background is another image. And then there's the other cover is a more traditional, what you would say, a more traditional like Ryoga Gotoku cover where it's like the main character and it has all of the images of all side characters that are in the game. So I don't know which one is which.
Yeah.
Oh! Okay, I figured it out. So if you get the game and if you get the hard copy of the game, it is a reversible cover. So you get not only the American cover, which is the one with the glass shards, but you get the Japanese cover, which is the traditional looking movie poster like one.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so more bang for your buck, and you get, it looks like with dual audio, does that mean you get the soundtrack of this game?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so you get the soundtrack of this game.
Cool.
Okay. For the upcoming remakes of Yakuza 3, 4, and 5, if I recall hearing correctly, when you get those games, when you got hard copies of those games, it actually came with the audio soundtrack.
That's pretty neat, actually.
So you don't even have to go to that one website anymore to download. I mean, you can. We're not endorsing it, obviously.
Right.
But, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's, for a lot of people, the soundtrack is important. But for me, like, if I could just get a digital version of the soundtrack, I'm fine. Nothing against physical copies. It's just like I don't really play music on my computer. I don't really have a CD player anymore. But if I could somehow just like have the digital version and put it on my phone, then yeah, that's easier. But you know what? It's fine. Like, I think it's a really cool addition overall because a lot of games usually come with soundtracks and they're special editions anyways.
And then for anyone who, another game that just came out is Devil May Cry 5. I actually have the game on Steam now. I have not played it, so I'll give my updates next week, as well as a bunch of other games that I'm behind on because Stardew Valley ruined my life. And one note that I've been hearing is if you want to get a copy of Devil May Cry 5, do not get the PlayStation copy because it is censored to some degree that I do not know what that is yet. I'm assuming it has to do with the violence, probably, because that's the only thing that PlayStation really censors for some weird and odd I don't know why, but get the Steam version if you're going to play it.
Okay, duly noted. Thanks for the hot tip.
Yeah. Yep.
So aside from releases, what are you playing currently? Aside from just getting Devil May Cry.
All right. And did I tell you that I got Dragon Ball FighterZ as well? I did,
we
right?
talked about that last week.
Okay, cool. So I finished 2 games today. I had to put Stardew Valley aside and tell myself, finish your goddamn games. So I finished Wargroove, which Wargroove is a shorter game to finish, especially if you recognize how to solve the puzzles and solve the battle. It is quicker. Granted, some had to take a few turns for me, but overall, very good tactical game. Very much enjoyed it. I'll probably write a review on it very soon. A very great beginning to 2019, in my opinion, especially for a Steam game, and I think it's also on Nintendo Switch. I created a map. If anyone's interested in playing on it, I'm willing to play on other people's maps as well. And I'm sure that I have a feeling that Wargroove is going to be a sleeper hit. I think that the more that people play it, the more mods will be available, because there's not too many available mods at the moment, but I would love to see more diversity in the different types of structures and the look of the character, style of the characters that you can have. So I'm anxiously awaiting for that. I have a feeling this is going to be a game that I'm playing throughout the year, as well as Stardew Valley. So let me know if you ever want to play it, and I'm down. And also, what I like about the game in general is you're not just playing as the main character, whose name's Mercia, and she's like a princess. You can also play as the side characters and the people that she conquers, so to speak. So those also appear as side missions. So you can play with pretty much every single character that your main character went up against. There's a side quest to actually play for that character. And I finished God of War. And
nice.
Man, that game took a very interesting but very fun turn. It basically alluded to there's gonna be a second God of War in this Norse mythology. There's no doubt about it. But
oh yeah.
I've talked about like a lot of the gameplay. I in general very much like the gameplay, and I've said that in previous podcasts. The one thing I want to note is that Atreus, who is the son of Kratos, is, man, I'm so hyped for his character.
Okay.
So it's gonna be good. It's gonna be very, very good, and super excited. And I'm also very excited for one of the female characters that they introduce in the game. Her name is Freya, and she is a very solid character. And yeah, it's kind of funny because there are elements of the storyline that are very much different from the original God of War series, which is much more of a brute force, attack everything. Kratos is a badass type thing, and it is very different. But there are still elements of the game that are very much Kratos is a perceived badass and is like killing a bunch of gods. So
Right.
it's like, I guess you can't have God of War if you're not the God of War. Like, some things will never change. But I actually think that when you get closer to the end of the story, he becomes the much more stereotypical Kratos that we all know. So,
right.
those are just my opinions, quick opinions of the storyline without actually kind of getting into it. And yeah, I'm very satisfied. Norse mythology is just cool. That is all I gotta say. Norse mythology, in my opinion, is vastly more interesting than Greek mythology. But
hey, shout out to Norse mythology.
Yeah, shout out to Norway. And yeah, I'm going to be, because there's a lot of story related things that I want to talk about with this game, and I'm going to talk about it outside of this episode. So that's
Cool.
all I'm playing. I finished 2 games, guys. I did not just spend this entire year wasted with Stardew Valley. So anyways, do you have any questions?
No questions at this time.
I was so excited that I just had to say it all.
Thank you. That was great.
Play it or not play it, play these games. They're great.
There you go. You heard it here first.
Heard it here first. Hot takes. Not even hot takes. They're takes. They're takes. Anyways.
Cool.
The fire inside of my soul is burning with passion.
I feel like that's a quote from God of War.
Probably.
One of the God of War games.
Yes.
From my end, I am finishing up Okami. Basically, I beat the final boss.
Hey.
And now one of the characters is like, oh, there's more stuff to do. And I was like, what? I thought the game was over. Turns out that this is not a 15-hour game. It's a 30-hour game. And I'm like, why? I felt so satisfied after. I was like, that was actually not a bad boss. And then now there's like a bunch of other stuff I have to do. But I'm slowly finishing it up. It's pretty fun. There's a part
I know exactly what you're talking about too.
Yeah. There's a part with the sunken ship, and it's kind of scary, actually. There's some horror segments. I'm like, this is not Okami anymore. This is actually kind of scary. So I'm trying to finish up that, and then probably this weekend I'm gonna start A Hat in Time. I got that for my birthday on Steam, and so I will check it out. Yeah, so I got another game in the pipeline after Okami-ish. So I'm still trying to beat Okami, but also play A Hat in Time.
Yes.
So yeah, that's all I have to say about Okami. I do want to express that I'm really excited for A Hat in Time because it just looks like a really cute platformer, and I do love platforming games, and it's something that I grew up with playing, such as like Mario Brothers and Banjo-Kazooie. So,
and you've been wanting to play it for a very long time too.
Yes, yeah. I didn't know what system I was gonna get it for, but it's there now. I have it on Steam, so I don't really have a choice in this. There's a game that I'm interested in. I forgot to talk about other releases earlier. The game that I'm talking about is, of course, ToeJam and Earl, Back in the Groove. It's a what is it? It's like a third-person action-adventure 2D/3D game. You play as 2 alien-like creatures. ToeJam and Earl are their names, and the studio, Human Nature Studios, is the studio that was developed by the guy that originally created the first game and subsequent games. The first game came out on the Genesis. The second one also came on the Genesis, I believe, and the third one was on the Xbox. And it's been years since they had another game like that. So this game is more akin to the Genesis version. It can be played either single player or co-op. It has a really, really like unique hip hop aesthetic to it from like the late 80s and early 90s. It kind of has that similar like style. The music is definitely inspired from that era. So if you've ever played the first game, you'll be more than familiar with this one. And I'm probably gonna get it on Switch since I kind of want to play this with other people and make the game as portable as possible. I was thinking about getting it on PS4, but then I was like, you know what? I want to play this on the Switch because I want to build up the Switch library.
This game.
Yeah, it looks really fun and cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the studio is actually based in Berkeley, California.
Hmm.
Oh, technically Albany, not Berkeley. They're near Berkeley. So Bay Area, small Bay Area studio. Shout out to them.
Okay, it's produced by Macaulay Culkin.
Yes, isn't that crazy?
How the hell? I haven't heard about that guy in so long, and now I know what he's up to, and this is what he's up to. And by the way, I'm not saying that in a negative way at all. I'm just like, wow, Macaulay Culkin's producing video games.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he has like a personal connection to this game or something.
Wow. Man.
Yeah.
So fascinating.
The only experience I've had with it was playing it on my cousin's Genesis back in the day, and after playing it, it was super fun. I was so confused about the storyline and where to go with that, but yeah, I think I'm gonna pick this one up hopefully in the near future, so I can start getting my 2019 game list going.
Hey.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to Cube Corner. The segment where we talk about GameCube video games. All right, today we'll be talking about a multi-platform released game. And the game's title is James Bond 007 From Russia with Love. So this is a third-person shooter game developed by EA Redwood Shores, which became Visceral Games, which unfortunately closed, so RIP.
RIP.
This is the first and only video game that featured Sean Connery, a young Sean Connery, that's voiced by Sean Connery, which is kind of interesting because you have the likeness of Sean Connery when he was in the 60s, but you have the voice of like old man Sean Connery where he talks like this. So it's kind of cool that he was able to lend his likeness to the game developers and also his voice. The game, as you could probably tell, is based off of the movie of the same title, From Russia with Love. And yeah, it follows the story of the movie pretty much similarly. And it has some new dialogue and some new scenes to make it more of a video game. For example, there's some elements from Thunderball, such as the jetpack, but also like from Goldfinger, such as the Aston Martin DB5 that has all the gadgets. A lot of the older actors that were in the movie reprise their likenesses. Like, I don't know how they secured the likenesses, but the likenesses of the original actors that played them in the movie are also in the game, so that's kind of cool, but they're just voiced by different people that sound similar to them.
I didn't know I didn't know they were trying to imitate the likeness.
Yeah, a lot of the characters such as M, Moneypenny, Q, they all have the same likeness as they do from their movie counterparts. There's an opening credit scene in the game where it shows all the people that are in the movie, like scenes, like, you know, small scenes from the movie that show the actors, and it has the actor's name, but it doesn't show the voice actor's name, which, you know, of course, it's trying to be the movie in a certain way. It's a game that's based off of the movie that came out like years later, because the novel From Russia with Love was released in 1957.
Yeah, and
the movie itself was released in 1963, and the movie is actually the second movie in the James Bond franchise, but it's not the first novel in the franchise. So yeah, I've been playing it, and it's a lot of fun. You can choose your different costumes for 007. You can choose different weapons, but it's just sometimes Sean Connery throws me off because he's the older Sean Connery voice, but with the younger body. So as I mentioned earlier, it's just kind of weird hearing that.
Inconsistent.
Yeah, I'd say that. So I'm just like, okay, Sean Connery is talking like this because he's old. And I'm like, all right, let's continue on. So it's fun. It's done so far. It's definitely one of the only third-person James Bond games, since most of them are first-person.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, because like when you think of spies in action, you kind of think of a first-person game.
I would argue that a third-person spy game is pretty cool too.
Yeah, definitely. This one has its perks, which is fun. The game itself plays pretty well on the GameCube. Of course, you're going to get visual, graphical differences depending on the system.
Mm-hmm.
And another fun fact is that this was the second to last game developed by an Electronic Arts studio before they lost the rights to Activision in 2006.
Oh, I did not know that.
So the game that came out after this was actually 007 Quantum of Solace, which is based on, of course, the same movie, the movie of the same name, Quantum of Solace, which had elements of Casino Royale, the Daniel Craig James Bond actor. So yeah, I think this is one of the only James Bond games that features Sean Connery. I don't think that there's other ones that have the younger Sean Connery voiced by Sean Connery.
Okay.
So this was a really unique case. It was kind of nice to know that this James Bond game was taken care of with a lot of love from a Bay Area studio at that unfortunately closed. So this is like pre-Dead Space. So you could see like a lot of the third-person elements that kind of inspired Dead Space, which is kind of cool. I think if you haven't played it and you really like James Bond games, then definitely play it. Because I picked this up from Game World in San Jose. As I mentioned last week, I picked up a bunch of games from San Jose, and this is one of them, and it was only $15. So you can go to eBay and find the game for that price or a little bit cheaper, depending on who's selling it. Yeah, great game. I love James Bond. I love the movies overall, so it kind of added to the fact that Sean Connery was in it. It was like an icing on the cake.
I've never played a James Bond game.
Oh, well, everyone says start at GoldenEye. I say don't, because it's not great. If I were to recommend a James Bond game to you, Alyssa, it would be this game for sure. 007 Agent Under Fire, 007 Nightfire, and GoldenEye Rogue Agent. Those are the games that I think hold up really well. Also, Quantum of Solace is not bad either. 007 Legends is the last James Bond game to come out ever from 2012. And you play as Daniel Craig. And this game, by the way, celebrates the 50-year anniversary of just James Bond.
Yeah.
So the reason why it's called Legends is because you play Daniel Craig when he gets shot in when he gets shot in Skyfall. At the beginning of Skyfall, basically, Daniel Craig gets shot and he falls into a river, and then a bunch of flashback sequences start from his quote-unquote previous missions. They basically put him, the likeness of Daniel Craig, into different movies that other James Bond actors were part of. Basically, if Daniel Craig was in Die Another Day, that's pretty much what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was a celebration of James Bond games, which I think was really cool, but they unfortunately did not do very well since, it's basically Call of Duty but James Bond, and a lot of people really really didn't like that. And even to kick the dog even more, it was built on the Infinity Ward engine, which of course Call of Duty is structured on. So you get basically a Call of Duty clone that's based off of a beloved franchise, and you don't really get a good formula for that.
Yeah, not really true to the actual franchise. Not
at all. That's the sad part.
Yeah.
But in any case, yeah, to close it out, that's all I have to say about From Russia with Love. Great game. Sean Connery did the voice. Pick it up if you can. So it was fun. Let's go on to some news. A lot of stuff happening.
I know.
What
is up with like the past 6 months and bad PR? Why does it feel like PR has declined terribly in the video game industry for the past year, for the past 12 months, 6 to 12 months?
It just feels like things
was
are
it
just
always this
catching up.
bad?
Yeah, I don't know. Like good games come out, but then the studios get all this flack, and the games that come out also get all this flack from the studios. So it's just like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, it blows my mind.
Like THQ Nordic, that whole disaster.
What an amazing story, though. My goodness.
Yeah. I don't know. But let's talk about Anthem. Let's talk about how Anthem is crashing systems.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of reports. What I've noticed, it's also because I follow PlayStation games more often. It's that a lot of PlayStation users have noticed that the Anthem completely bricked their console. Like their console's not working at all anymore. And they've made different requests and everything. And then, of course, the obvious answer is like Anthem's not going to admit that they've done something strange in the way that the game is built that is ruining an actual console. Which means, like, you have to kind of do a lot. It means that, you see, I'm not quite sure of the details, but that would basically mean that Anthem is running so much power that it's ruining the power supply to that extent. Like, that's a pretty loaded game if that's the case. It means it's not using a lot of the memory, it's not like using a lot of the memory efficiently or anything. So Anthem, of course, was just like, we're not bricking consoles. And then finally, like, I don't know how many days ago, but then they finally said, oh yeah, we're aware that our console or our game is bricking consoles.
Ugh. Okay. Here's the thing. All right. This is BioWare's make it or break it game. They've come out and said, like, if Anthem does not do well, they're probably going to have to close the studio.
Yeah.
And everyone was like,
crazy because Mass Effect came from the studio.
Exactly. Also, like, Jade Empire, Star Wars The Old Republic. These are beloved games. They have a really large history of, beloved games that people go back and play. And it just sucks that this is the game that will define their future. And so far, it's not doing very well.
I know.
A lot of people were like sided either loving the game or hating the game, but it seems like more people are hating the game.
It's hard to love a game if it breaks your PlayStation.
Oh yeah, like it's hard to love a game that doesn't allow you to play the game on your system. Like that doesn't make like you want a free dead PS4? Go ahead and play Anthem. Like let's be honest.
I know. God, I'm so amazed though. Like that's what it's come to.
It's just a shit show. All these talented people that were part of BioWare leave, and so people like Mark Laidlaw, James Olin, like these people were with the company for years, and they just end up leaving because what's the point in being part of a company that is showing its age? Let's say that
pretty much
because they've been they were part of innovators when it came to MMOs and RPG games, I believe, but now it just seems like they're trying to beat a dead horse and bring stuff back that they think people will love, but in reality, people just look at it and are like, "This is what you're bringing out to the table." Like Anthem just looks like an Iron Man simulator.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
I haven't played Anthem.
I honestly have no opinion, and we're gonna go back and talk about how in previous podcasts we didn't actually play Anthem. Alyssa and I haven't played Anthem yet. I don't know. Alyssa could probably speak to it about playing Anthem, but for me, it was like I don't really want to talk about Anthem too much because I actually haven't touched it. But all this negative PR and all these negative reviews kind of make me don't want to play it now, simply because, damn, dude, like I don't want to break my PS4 or my PC because it was bricking not just PS4s, but I read that it was bricking PCs as well as Xboxes. Good. Yeah, so like, oh my god, if I were to brick my PC from playing Anthem, I'd get so mad.
Yeah, that would be terrible. They would. Ugh. Yeah, if I could prove that they did it, I would. That would be of grounds of having BioWare pay for my repair or completely
boom, class action lawsuit
platform. Yeah. Now, I have never played Anthem yet, and I probably won't, and it's simply because that's not really my type of game. But man, the press is bad. It's pretty bad press for sure.
Yeah, like I love third-person open-world action RPGs like this, but yeah, this one just doesn't catch me.
This ain't it, Chief.
Exactly.
Huh.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens in the saga of Anthem in the near future, and we'll see if they implode or learn from their mistakes.
I know it'll be really sad if they close, but
It would be really sad.
I understand why. It's like no, they didn't do very well. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Yeah. So something I do want to talk about real quick. I totally forgot to talk about this earlier. I played Halo: The Master Chief Collection recently, and I forgot how much I love Halo, and now I want to buy an Xbox and play just the Master Chief Collection. But I don't think that the Xbox or purchasing a console just to play one game is justified. Like, I feel like there needs to be more, and that more would probably be the Rare collection, because I loved Rare in the past, not really now. Their games are whatever. But the reason why I'm mentioning Xbox and Halo is because Microsoft is rumored to have a digital only console come out soon. They might announce it either this month or next month with a release in May. And what that digital console only means is that it won't have a disc tray. It won't accept any discs. You can only download games from the store online or play them streaming onto the system. Well, how much it'll cost depends on how big the system is. People are saying it's probably going to be a lot smaller, so basically a more compact Xbox One system. And I think that when this comes out, it'll significantly lower the price of the Xbox One S as well as the original Xbox. So we'll see. I mean, if that's the case, then I think I'll have to decide on which console I'll pick up just to get the Master Chief Collection. Because, man, I love Halo, and I love that the Xbox One is a great console, hardware-wise and graphically, but I just don't think that it's just worth buying to play one game.
Yeah, the digital one sounds a lot more appealing, and, Xbox doesn't really have emulators. At least not that I'm aware of. They could have an emulator, I just don't know.
Yeah, I don't think they have an emulator.
Okay, yeah. I would wait for the digital one if it does come out.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with discs.
Yeah.
I like those.
And then you'd only be dealing with discs for one game. So
Exactly. And not to be biased or anything, I just like the look of the PS4 game, like the game the cases, because I like
box?
blue and white. Yeah, I like the blue and I like the white text on it. And for me, that kind of just makes it look better, since the spine of these games also has a little bit of artwork on it.
Agreed.
Because usually when it comes to Switch games, the spine of the Switch cases, they're just red and they just say the name of the game on there. But I like how each spine of the PS4 games are like unique and they're taken with care, and you can easily spot them. So I like, for example, I'm looking at all of mine right now. I can easily tell the difference between all the Yakuza games. I can see where Wolfenstein is, and Borderlands, since Borderlands has yellow text.
Yeah.
But Resident Evil, the thing I like about all the Resident Evil games is that they all are black with different fonts of the game on there. I think that's cool. That's a nice touch.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. Each game has its own logo to it, much more customized and aesthetically pleasing.
Absolutely. But, my favorite color is still green, but that doesn't mean that I want to buy Xbox games just because of the green cases. So, yeah, that's just my 2 cents.
For sure. Yeah, I would wait to see what happens.
Exactly. We'll see what happens in the coming months when the new Xbox, we'll call it the Nextbox, whenever that comes out.
Hey!
It's usual for console manufacturers to start producing smaller systems like this, as we saw at the end of the PS2's lifetime with the PS2 Slim. It's more of a way for companies to produce a smaller, more cost-effective system to get those last people into their library. So, for example, someone like me who's been thinking about getting an Xbox, but really doesn't have a reason to, because I don't want to pay the $200 price tag for a new Xbox when I can just get the smaller one that's, the quote-unquote slim version for a lot cheaper. And if it's digital only, hey, that's fine with me, because I already play Steam games and those are all digital only anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we covered Anthem, Xbox. The last thing I want to talk about from my end on news is Battlefield 5's Firestorm mode, which is basically their battle royale, was leaked online. So there was like an intro video that was kind of leaked, and it showed the giant fire circle closing in. Of course, with every battle royale, there's always like a field or like a force field thing that closes in until it's really, really small, and everyone has to kill each other before it closes, etc., etc. It's kind of cool because Battlefield has tanks, and these tanks look indestructible. But of course, when you're a foot soldier, you can get anti-tank weapons and you can destroy the tanks with them. So there's some level of playing on the field when it comes to vehicles versus humans in a way. As for those that don't know, Battlefield 5 is set during World War II, so your weapons are kind of limited in that sense. Destructible environments are a hallmark of the Battlefield series. So of course, your tank will like blow up a house, and if there's someone in there that you're trying to find, then you can like blow up the whole house, and hopefully you'll kill them, or maybe you can find them easier. As with all battle royale games, you drop from an airplane onto an island. You gather weapons and ammo and armor.
Pretty standard.
Yeah, it's got everything a battle royale game has in 2019. So you're not really missing much. But for those Battlefield owners that have been anticipating this, I feel like this is going to be one of the more definitive battle royale experiences. Right now, the hot take is Apex Legends, and before that was Call of Duty Blackout, before that was Fortnite, before that was PUBG, before that, it was H1Z1 or whatever. So there's phases for these battle royale games, and I feel like Firestorm's definitely gonna, maybe it will outweigh Apex, but I feel like Apex right now is the top.
It has a lot of momentum.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The fact that it's also free to play is definitely really good, but we've seen games with paywalls before, such as PUBG. You have to buy that on PC in order to play it. Not to say that people will start buying people won't buy Battlefield 5 because for Firestorm, which I feel like people will justify playing Firestorm just to buy Battlefield 5. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll definitely see what's up.
Yeah, Alyssa and I have been silently following the Battle Royale trend. I myself have played PUBG Mobile, and that was a lot of fun for a couple months. But of course, things get old and repetitive after a while, and you kind of want to put it down and be like, you know what, it's all good. I remember last year's GDC, there was a whole section dedicated to Fortnite. You could play Fortnite on tablets, on phones, on consoles, on the big screen, on PCs. For those that don't know, GDC is the Game Developers Conference, and so it was really cool to see that Fortnite was the biggest thing of that spring, and basically the whole rest of that year. But I feel like, video games and just media in general gets so old so fast that companies just can't keep up. And when the next new thing comes out, people are already flocking to it.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone wants what's new.
Speaking of that, are you aware that Days Gone is starting to release a lot more content, and that it's gonna, I think, come out in like May or April?
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's officially going, but it kind of feels like Days Gone, from what I've seen in the trailers so far, is built on a trend that's happened in 2012 and 13 of zombies. And I just kind of don't know how I feel about zombies anymore.
Yeah, I feel like zombies were the early...
And that, I feel like, is a trend that's kind of, we'll have to see how Days Gone treats itself, because at least the way that The Last of Us turned out, The Last of Us is much more of a social game, in a sense that it's about it's not just about the zombie apocalypse. It's about Joel and Ellie's relationship surviving as a potential father and daughter figure, whereas Days Gone just kind of seems like a zombie game, and
right,
kind of feel like it's past its time. But we'll see what happens. Maybe I'm just tripping too much.
Yeah, no, I feel like the zombies thing was a whole phase that kind of just went out when Call of Duty started adding it to every single game. And zombies in video games, I think, will be timeless. Because like every Call of Duty game that comes out, even Call of Duty Black Ops 4, they still have zombies there. And it makes sense because it's a mode that people expect.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like a game that doesn't have more than zombies, like if it's just about zombies, then I feel like people are like, let's play something else, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, games have come out and have been successful, like Dying Light, you know, or like even Metro. I don't know if they have zombies in there, but it just seems like they might.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
You know, games that have elements of the undead definitely do well. But like, look at Resident Evil 2 Remake. Like that has zombies and that's doing well. So, you know, you'll always have zombie games that come out every year, but unless they're part of an established franchise or they do something unique with the zombies, I think you can't really get out of the fact that people will look the other way. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's just how I feel. That's what I'm getting the feeling of. Everyone just wants to play Battle Royale. Even Battle Royale Call of Duty Blackout for Black Ops 4, they have zombies in there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like zombies will always be around. It's just people think they're old. Yeah. So that's all I have to say about news.
Yeah. If you want to submit a question for Downtime Podcast, you can email us at contact@downtime.live. On www.downtime.live, we have the Discord, and you can join the Discord. And any platform where we have the podcast, you can leave a comment or a review on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, and we'll read it out.
Yeah, we love to hear from you guys. Please send us questions, comments. We love hearing that you guys are listening. We love knowing that you guys are listening. And we love reading comments to know that you guys are listening. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening to the 93rd episode of Downtime Podcast. See you guys next time.
Yep. Peace.